giovedì 21 gennaio. Bentrovati a Verona, ottava edizione Motorbike Expo. Ciao! Intanto ben arrivati ai nostri ospiti, ben arrivati a coloro che poi anche quest'anno saranno veramente l'anima del grande salone scaligero della moto. Iniziamo anche quest'anno qui alla Gran Guardia, questa fantastica realtà, questa fantastica struttura che guarda la stupenda arena di Verona per presentare in un incontro con tutti voi il mondo del Motorbike Expo. Quindi insieme inizieremo già adesso con questa sera, questa piccola preview, una cena insieme a buffet, gusteremo i fantastici vini della provincia di Verona, staremo insieme e incontreremo tanti ospiti per parlare del mondo della moto come sempre a 360 gradi. Mentre vedo che c'è un certo fermento alle mie spalle, tra qualche istante potremo iniziare con una prima conferenza che toccherà uno dei punti cardine del Motorbike Expo, forse uno dei punti che è stato all'inizio la base per creare questo grande evento che giunge appunto quest'anno all'8ª edizione qui alla Fiera di Verona, il mondo del custom, il mondo della personalizzazione, il mondo delle moto preparate. Io mi chiamo Boris Casadio, da anni faccio parte dello staff di Francesco Agnoletto e Paola Somma al microfono per presentare un po' tutti quelli che sono gli eventi che si svolgono nel contesto della fiera, dai concorsi alla presentazione del prodotto, agli eventi sportivi. È un grande piacere anche quest'anno incontrarvi, è un ritrovarsi ogni anno, poi ognuno di noi intraprenderà il suo percorso professionale nel corso della stagione, chi più sportivo, chi più nella preparazione, quindi è sempre una sorta di buon anno, per cui mentre ci prepariamo, mentre ci raggiungeranno i nostri ospiti, possiamo dire effettivamente buon anno a tutti e buon Motorbike Expo! Sì, allora intanto invitiamo i nostri ospiti a prendere posto qui davanti. So please, if you just can take place here in front of the stage, can you just come here? Vorrei invitare un po' di persone, un po' di ospiti, magari col bicchiere in mano ad accomodarsi qua con noi sui divanetti, perché abbiamo preparato i divanetti per voi. Per cui se vi avvicinate, please if you can take place here in front of the stage. Thank you so much. Vogliamo cominciare? Qui non ci sono interrogazioni. Prego, prego, non sia timoroso, venga avanti, venga avanti. Vieni caro, vieni, non succede nulla. Ok, nel frattempo, mentre ci raggiungono, inizierei a chiamare i nostri ospiti. Cominciamo con un evento dedicato a una grande casa di pneumatici. Parliamo ovviamente di Metzeler, quindi cominciamo con Metzeler che ha una serata, una presentazione legata al mondo della customizzazione. E per farlo cominciamo a chiamare i nostri ospiti. Signori, sarà lui a introdurvi ovviamente al mondo del custom, uno dei più grandi fotografi in assoluto del mondo custom, uno dei più grandi reporter con le sue immagini dei bikers e del loro fantastico mondo. Dagli Stati Uniti d'America, con un grande applauso accogliamo Michael Lichter. Un applauso un po' più vivace. Ok. You can take place here. Thank you. Signori, direttamente da Harley-Davidson, Drea, al quale tributiamo un grande applauso. Please, Ray, can you take place here? Here at the desk. Thank you. E continuiamo. Signori, è il direttore di una delle testate principali in Italia, non solo nel mondo del custom, dell'amore per l'Harley-Davidson, per Lowride, il direttore Giuseppe Roncen. Lo facciamo accomodare. Vi sento un po' mosci però, vorrei sentire un po' più di calore, un po' più di entusiasmo. Andiamo avanti, è una vera icona del mondo custom, arriva direttamente dagli States, dalla West Coast, per Arlen Ness, Cory Ness. Mr. Cory Ness, please, if you can take place here on the desk, ci dovrebbe raggiungere. E ovviamente è un'iniziativa promossa da Metzeler. Invitiamo con noi per Metzeler il dottor Piero Misani. Ciao Piero. E ora vi lascio ovviamente a questa introduzione Custom World.
Okay. Hello. Thank you for that great introduction. I'm Michael Lichter, and it was all in Italian. I didn't understand a word, but I do have my spritz with me instead of a camera today. I guess that's part of the uniform. Anyway, I want to thank our panelists for coming. What I was asked to do here was to address the question which we all want to know: where are we going with this? And so where are we going with design in motorcycling today? And so we have representatives from different segments, including Ray as a representative of manufacturers with Harley-Davidson, Cory Ness, a big customizer and a big customizing company, Giuseppe Roncen, of course, with Lowride magazine, and Piero from Metzeler as head of R&D there. So we're going to start here with our first slide, if we can advance. And we have a few slides from each person here. What's that? I thought you wanted to go to electric. Let's go to electric. Okay. So part of this was saying, where have we been and where are we going? And Ray provided a couple of slides here. One is this lowrider, and following that will be the electric bike that Harley has introduced as a prototype, and hopefully we'll see something in the next few years. But obviously they'll kill him if he tells us anything. Now I'm going to put Ray on to describe this process of where he thinks we're going and how this ties into Harley-Davidson in looking forward.
Maybe I should translate, because maybe not everyone is familiar. Or do we have a translator? No, I can do it if you make short phrases, so I can resume what you said. Sì, Michael Lichter è il fotografo noto a tutti nel mondo della moto e del custom in particolare. Introduce questa piccola conferenza che spiega un po' il rapporto tra il design e la produzione, tra la scena custom e quello che poi è la produzione delle case. E quindi Drea, che si occupa dello styling per la Harley-Davidson Motor Company, inizia la sua spiegazione. So please,
all right.
I will translate for you.
So going back to the question, really thinking about where is motorcycling design going in the future. And when you think of Harley-Davidson, it's been around for a couple of years, right? And when you think of the iconic design of a Harley-Davidson, it can be a blessing and a curse as far as how do you move that design forward in a relevant way without losing that respect for the history. So we've got this photo here of the 1991 Sturgis bike. As an example, this really iconic Harley-Davidson has a lot of cues for this, what I would call at the time when this bike came out, a really reasonable bar hopper. And so when we decided to do this concept bike of electric motorcycle, many people thought from a brand standpoint, how the hell are you ever going to do that? Did you want to?
It's quite a long phrase. Quindi allora Drea ha iniziato il suo intervento dicendo che appunto la domanda è in che direzione sta andando il design motociclistico, e per esporre la sua tesi, che appunto che Harley-Davidson ha una storia grande, non è da un paio d'anni sul mercato, cioè dal 1903, ha mostrato quello che è definito un bar hopper, quindi un Dyna Sturgis del 1991, che è considerato per lo stile, per il colore, per le finizioni una classica Harley-Davidson. E adesso sta mostrando un prototipo della moto elettrica Lightwire, che praticamente mostra una direzione decisamente innovativa a partire dal gruppo, dal fatto che si muove con l'elettricità, non ha più motore a scoppio, quindi il design. So please, right. If you make shorter phrases, it will be easier for me. Thanks.
Shorter. So for doing this Livewire bike, taking some of the Harley essence or cues of the brand.
Quindi nella Livewire, secondo Ray, ci sono comunque degli spunti, dei colori, c'è un'essenza che fa parte della tradizione del design di Harley-Davidson.
Think about it, when this bike rides by, you don't catch all the details, but you catch these big chunks of what could represent the brand, the black, the touch of orange on there, much like the Sturgis. But as importantly, and one thing that kind of sets us apart from a lot of the other competition out there is how we really represent the motor. The motor is front and center. That was the thing, the brightest thing on the bike there was bringing that motor forward.
Basically, it's the engine is still the heart of the motorcycle, even if it's an alternative kind of engine, right? That's to resume a little bit.
The heart and soul. I thought you were going to talk Italian.
Quindi dice che comunque è una caratteristica che tutti notano quando questa moto passa, e comunque il cuore della moto rimane il motore, anche se è un motore alternativo. Yeah.
So, you know, when you think about what we did, there was also a huge opportunity for the brand to really stretch what we're doing, obviously, not only from a functional standpoint with the electric motor, but also think about the design language of this bike. So we very intentionally moved this forward with a more contemporary look. We took the license of being able to do something totally different for Harley-Davidson. But when we think about trends and where the future's going, obviously this bike is just one of the examples of showing what I see more and more is really putting performance, visual performance into the motorcycles. That is one huge cue that you see in just about all the bikes out there. So when you think about the performance, there's so many ways that you steal from that. It comes out of racing and performance parts. But there's one other movement that I'd like to speak to that I see happening out there, and maybe some folks haven't quite made that connection yet, but I don't know how many of you have heard of the maker movement. So when you think of Born Free and this resurgence of these retro motorcycles, it's not just the motorcycle itself, it's the fact that that builder, they did it themselves, and it's very proud about that. And so that influence is global, not only in motorcycles. Think about how people are decorating their houses and making this furniture and from found materials, the rusty metal and so forth, that's found its same way into the motorcycles. So I think that's actually a very huge movement that goes well beyond motorcycles itself.
It's interesting to move to Cory now. In a sense, we have a concept bike here from a manufacturer. But now we'll move to Cory. And here's a bike that Cory has said is quite the inspiration for him. It's a bike called Ness from his father from 1987 from Arlen, Ness. And not that this is a direct inspiration for the bike you're going to see in a moment, but it is a inspiration for Cory and all the work he does. So I think Cory can address that in the next shot here.
Well, my dad's bike, Ness there, is just, it's kind of a traditional Ness lines from where my father started. And myself, I've followed the same direction, and probably most of my favorite bikes I've built over the years. But performance looking, very skinny frame, but all good stuff, chromoly tubing, race quality materials. And currently, this is my latest bike here. In the U.S., the touring segment is monstrous, and what's great about it is it gets people out on the road, not around town, but you take the trips, to Sturgis, from California to Sturgis, or just getting on a motorcycle, the experience, the getting away with your buddies. There's really nothing like it, and now this custom segment has got in the U.S. and other places as well, but it's so strong as far as the people taking the touring bikes to the custom level of a guy would do with a digger or a bobber. And one thing we've always tried to do is, take the style to the limit, but still make it rideable. And that's what I tried to do here. This has 2 engines, which is kind of crazy, but it fires right up. You can drive it. You can throw stuff on the saddlebags, and I don't know. It's really, really popular at home right now.
248 cubic inches sitting right there, and you can see the twin engines in this shot of it. But well, I do think it's kind of interesting that it's also a show bike, and it really, it looks back to what your dad started many years ago, 40 years ago really, with having a bike that comes out once a year with the latest and greatest, and it's what you'll see. Now, you won't necessarily see a twin engine, but you'll probably see many parts that are on this bike in the future from Arlen Ness.
Yeah, every time we build a custom bike, we usually learn about, how can we take some of this motorcycle and put it into our business. And that's what my dad started doing 40 years ago, from building a custom bike, getting it published in some of the magazines, and then the catalog followed with a few of the components that maybe people said, man, those handlebars are really cool, or that frame's cool, or that long fender, or what have you. But that's kind of how the Ness brand has grown and built over the years.
We're going to move now from customizing back to manufacturing through Giuseppe Roncen and Lowride magazine.
Should I speak in English or Italian?
Why don't you speak in English, since that's how we're going?
In English? Okay. So basically my 2 cents will be that I'm really surprised that more and more companies are trying to at least catch a feeling, understand what's on the market, so they look more and more seriously to the custom bike scene. And some companies, this is a very good example, are even showing the interpretation of the custom bike builder before introducing the actual production model. This is a BMW that was preceding the R90, which was built by Roncen in California. So Roncen's design is a pretty relevant customizer. And if you can please pass. And after that, BMW showed the production model, which is on the right. It's the R90 production version. And same deal with the next slide. It's always a BMW, but this was actually built by a shop in Japan called 46 Works. It's an interpretation of the same bike. So BMW actually gave to 4 of the most outstanding Japanese customizers some bikes to play with. Can you please show the next one? This is the same bike, but totally different approach, like full wheels, total handmade bodywork, all blacked out. Next slide. This is the same bike. This is Brat Style. So Brat Style, they decided to do like a street tracker with Ceriani vintage front end, wire wheels, same bike. Then another one. This is another interpretation, once again like a very poetic and nostalgic kind of a cafe racer with handmade bodywork. So I think it's kind of interesting to see that the custom bike scene is so relevant even for manufacturers. And this is a Yamaha. They built a 3-cylinder street bike. Roncen made his own interpretation, and after that, they unveiled the XSR 900. So everybody saw before that the production model, the stock one. And this is the reverse example. This is a Moto Guzzi. It's not out yet, but we saw it in the shows. There's one pre-production model here on display at the Motorbike Expo, when we will meet tomorrow, every one of you. And it looks like a beggar from the street, from the custom bike scene. And this is the latest model of Ducati. Ducati makes like a very aggressive and high-tech kind of lowrider, which would be pretty common 5 years ago in custom bike shows, this kind of style. And now it's a production bike. And now it's Michael Lichter's turn.
Sorry.
Thank you very much.
I do think it's very interesting what Giuseppe brings up, but in particular, he said it's great to see the attention manufacturers are giving. I think it's astounding to see it, that custom bikes has reached this level of relevance, that the big manufacturers are looking at small shops to get creative ideas, input, and also those small shops are very often really in tune with what's around them, what people are looking for, where things are going. It's a great way to go. And actually, the slides I picked are very much in tune with what Giuseppe picked. I shot these in Moon Eyes last month. This is one of my favorite builders. It's from Cherry's company, Cairuccio there, Cross. And this was a project where Harley-Davidson gave 4 750s, very similar to the BMW project, and they gave their latest platform, the 750. I show it not because of the platform, I just show it because I think it's incredible the way it was interpreted. Not only that, the 4 builders that did it, I only have 2 examples here. This is from Cherry's company, this one's from Asterix Motorcycle. All 4 took a very sporting look at these bikes. They didn't try to build choppers, and all the 4 shops do build choppers, but they chose to build performance bikes using this platform. That's what spoke to them. That's also what they felt was the direction. I had 2 more slides here. One from Rick Bray in the United States. I'm going to fast forward here to Cherry's company again to show you that how he interprets the 750 with a performance look. And this here, in a sense, this is performance as well. It looks to me inspired by drag racing. But what I find now with the custom bike scene is the attention to detail. I think maybe the Japanese have brought that back to everybody, that the level of detail that's gone into these bikes. I'll go here to Rick Bray's bike. If there's a linkage that he could put on a motorcycle, he will find a way to make that into 4 linkages. And each one is a piece of jewelry. It's fantastic to look at, and I think really a work of art. But to me, this is some of the directions I think things are going with these, again, the attention to detail and look towards performance. And on that note, I'm going to turn it over to Pirelli to hear from, on the tires, what's going on.
Well, after so many nice pieces of art like these bikes are, I may understand it's difficult to get excited with tires. But in spite of this, tires may help into defining the spirit, the soul of a custom bike. We as Metzeler, we have started to work many years ago trying to support the customization. In which sense? We have been the first to introduce the big tires, especially on the back. You can see here, we have gone up to a 300 tire. But we were speaking also about performance before. You named performance bikes. We as a company, as a producer, we have always to match what is the design, what is the drivability, the enjoyment, the fun, and the safety as well. So to bring a 300 would be very easy, just make it flat. But then you have to handle. And that was the tough exercise we have to chase. But finally we got there. As you can see, the rear tire is really huge. And even in the next one, where it's testified that the best customizers choosing these tires because of the performance and the matching of style and performance, you can see on the upper left side how huge is the impact of the tire on the total frame. The volume of the tire is that big, so we cannot neglect an impact of the tire. The second part, we are lucky. With a car tire, you just see a sidewall. On a motorcycle, you can see the tread. And the tread allows us to experiment, to express ourselves, and try to communicate as well. In this case, this is the latest product we have been making for the US market, for the custom bikes. And as you can see, we try to get the same imprinting that some bikes are giving. We are shaping the grooves in a way that may look like a little tattoos, trying to find something in something which is functional, like a tread design, try anyhow to bring some passion inside. The sizes. Now there is a trend also in terms of tires that is driven by the customizers, where in the front we are getting now small but big in diameter. Here, for example, is our latest 26-inch tire for the baggers. So we still continue. We have been the first on the rear to go big. Now we go on the front end to big diameters. But that's not only the last attempt. And not only the custom range, not only the US market, we are trying to drive design also in Europe and drive it throughout also the normal production bikes. What we are trying to do is try to communicate with the style. In this case, especially when you look at the right tire, which is a rear tire, is trying to communicate immediately what? The best in the wet. It's somehow a rain tire. And what we are doing is patenting that and trying to reproduce the tread pattern also on the sidewall as a trademark to reinforce this concept. So at the end of the day, we can play a big part as well into helping customization, into helping style and things like this. But not forgetting the two nice things, having fun in safety. And that is the spirit of Metzeler. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. Anyone want to, any comments on the other panelists? Any comments here? Any of you want to comment on anybody else? Would any of you like to comment on the other statements? All right, all good. Well, this is a small way, 5 people, their impressions on where things are going, and I know there's many more in the audience there, and a few things have been represented, but we'd certainly welcome anyone that would like to come up and chat with us after, and please enjoy the party, the drink, and the food. Have a great evening and a great 3 days at Motorbike Expo. Thank you Metzeler, thank you Motorbike Expo.
Grazie a tutti.
Allora signori, un grazie
Andate in
davvero.
pace.
Come? Andate in pace, perfetto. No, la messa però non è finita. Ora vogliamo ringraziare comunque, a cominciare ovviamente da Michael Lichter, grandissimo obiettivo, grandissimo fotografo del mondo custom, dall'America non poteva mancare. Your third Motorbike Expo this year, third times, la terza volta che arriva qua a Verona con noi. Insieme a loro, o insieme a lui ovviamente, ad arricchire questo parterre in questa conferenza per il mondo custom e le gomme Metzeler. Ovviamente da Harley-Davidson, Drea. Un grazie al direttore di Lowride, Giuseppe Roncen. Signori, una vera icona del mondo custom, Cory, Ness, Arlen Ness. E ovviamente grazie ancora a Metzeler e in questo caso ha tenuto la conferenza il signor Piero Misani. Bene, a questo punto facciamo una foto con tutti loro. Ora andiamo a un altro momento, arrivo subito, ci prepariamo. Intanto nel mentre facciamo una foto con tutti i nostri ospiti. Vorrei salutare, visto che ci ha raggiunto dagli Stati Uniti d'America, anche una grande presenza, pronipote di Mr. Arthur Davidson. Signori, salutiamo tutti insieme Karen Davidson, che è qua con noi. Nice to have you here. Nice to have you here this year. Can you just wake up? Okay, here please. Un saluto ufficiale, an official welcome in Verona, you and your great trade, Harley-Davidson.
Thank you. Hello, this is one of my favorite shows, Radical Customs. Great job, Cory. Love it.
Grazie a Karen Davidson che sarà con noi in questo lunghissimo Motorbike Expo.